Hey everyone, in this video we are going to implement the feature to search properties. Alright, so we have a search box here implemented in one of the earlier videos that we had created. So we had just left the placeholder. So if I just type in anything over here, so nothing actually happens. So let's bring this feature alive and let's also create a server action such that when I type the property name or the location where I want to buy the property, so any user can type in here and all the properties in that area will be shown over here. Okay, so if I just show you the demo of the application, so we have a few properties. Let's say I want to buy a property in Whitefield, that is in Bangalore. So if I just type in if I just type in the keyword and click on search, so you see that we get one particular property for in Whitefield. Okay, so based on the keyword that we type in over here. Okay, and that is for either for rent or for sale. Okay, and also I should be able to select either I want for rent or for sale. So if I enter sale over here and click on search, so I will not be able to see any properties for sale on that particular location. Okay, so based on whatever you select over here, you will be getting the properties based on that, so either for rent or for sale and the location name. Okay, and you see that we have created a different route, so that is for /search results and giving a query param for the actual location that we type in here and what type of property is that, either it is for rent or for sale. Okay, so we will be doing the same over here. So let's go ahead and get started with this video. So let's now go ahead and create a route to yield all the search results for the keyword that we type in and the property that we select. So let's go into the app and create a route. Let's call it search results. Alright, so inside that let's create a page.tsx. Okay, so let's sketch our component and let's call this search results. Alright, so after doing this, we need to now go to the component where we have implemented that search box. Okay, so remember in one of those videos we had created this box for search properties. Okay, so this is just a simple HTML form, okay, built in using design. So this doesn't have any kind of state to hold on the property location and also the type of the property and also any on click on the search button, so that won't perform any action. So let's bring this component to life. So, okay, so let's get started by creating the state to hold the location. So let's call this location and set location and giving it a state, and initially this is going to be an empty string. Okay, so since this is an input field, so whatever we type in over there, we can put in an on change handler and set the location to the particular string that we type in. Okay, so let's do the same for the property type. Okay, so we can just call this type type like this, and by default the state is going to be of type rent. Okay, so since that is what by default we have put in over here, so let's pass in rent. Alright, so if the user want to select for sale, the user can click on this drop down and select sale. Okay, so that will update this state to sale. So after this we can now go to our form element and then add an on change handler over there and also the value prop. Okay, so inside the select I'm going to add an additional prop for the value and set this to the actual value pertaining to the type of this, so that is the type itself, and giving it another prop of on change, and this is going to receive the value. Okay, so when you're using design select element, you get the value directly. Okay, instead of using that e.target.value, so you get value directly over here. So I'm just going to grab that within my function argument and then going to set the type of that to the value itself. Okay, so that's done, and now let's do the same for the location, and by giving this value of location and on change. So this is going to since this is a text field, we just need to extract that value from e.target.value. So we get the event and setting the location to e.target.value like this. Okay, so now we can just go ahead and console log and check if our state is being updated as we type in. Okay, so I'm just going to console log the type and the location as well. So now if I save this, and go back to the browser. So if I just now type in a location, I should be able to get that. Okay, so it has been printed out 2 times, so even for the rent. Okay, so since the page has been re-rendering as the for every letter we type in. Okay, so that's why. So we are getting the values. So now let's go ahead and create a server action such that when whatever the location that we type in, that will create a request to the backend and then fetch the relevant properties for that location. So let's go to the actions file and create a server actions to get the properties that we search. Okay, so probably this will be the last server action that we'll be building for this project. Okay, so let's finally create that. So by creating an async function. Okay, so let's call the search results. Okay, and this is going to receive 2 arguments. One is the type and one is the location, right? So type, and this is going to be of type string. So type string. Let's grab the location, and that is again of type string. And inside this body, let's put a try catch, and let's fetch the response first by making a database query to our property model. So let's await db.property.find many. Okay, so find many will give us an array of properties. Okay, and here we just need to pass in our conditions, like where the type is going to be the type that we are receiving. Okay, like this. And also we need to provide the type of that. Okay, so specifying a type for the type, maybe I should call it property type, so please don't get confused. So that is coming from prisma.enum type filter, like this. And now we just need to also provide where on what do we want to search based on. Okay, so we have a few properties within our property model. Okay, so that is we want to search based on the city, state and the street. Okay, so whatever we provide, and I don't think it would make sense to make a search on the zip code. So if you want, you can also do that. So we can just go back and we can just provide the 3 things within the or operator. Okay, so or is an operator which we can provide within the where clause. Okay, so this will perform an or operation between these attributes within our table. So based on the street or let's say state, and we just have the contains keyword. Okay, so we just want to have contains the location. Okay, and pass in the location, and also the same for the other 3 as well, other 2. So that is for the city and then the street. Okay, so let's give a comma here. And yeah, so finally let's catch the error if there is any. So let's say fail to fetch or search properties. And pass in the error. Okay, so let's also finally return the response. So right here, and also we want to include the images as well, right? So since we will also be requiring images to show the search properties, so let's include images and set that to true. Okay, so let's finally export this server action. Maybe this is the last server action that we are exporting for this project. So with that done, we can now go ahead and import this particular function or the server action to fetch all the properties once we click on the save the search button. So now we just need to attach an on click handler such that whenever we submit this particular form, it should make a server action to the search results and get all the properties. Okay, so for that we have a special property in input.search element, that is on search. So this is similar to clicking on the search button. Okay, so here we receive the event itself. So anyways, I'm just going to directly call the function that is handle get search properties or just get properties. Okay, and also whenever we submit this form or click enter, okay, when we are typing the form, so this should also call that same method. Okay, so let's specify the on submit, and this is going to, or sorry, this is called on finish in AndDesign, and then this is going to call the again handle get properties. Okay, so let's create that function here. const get handle get properties. So inside this function we need to make a check if the location that is entered is actually valid or not. Okay, so the user just can't type in a blank location and type on search. Okay, so also let's do that check over here. So let's check if location dot trim to trim all the white spaces, and if that is equal to an empty string, then we just want to return by throwing an error, or maybe we can show the flash message saying that please enter a location. So let us import the flash messages or the show message. And that is coming from use message. So that custom hook that we built in one of those videos, and make sure that is coming from your message context and not directly from design. So let us call that function by returning it and show message, and pass in the text of please enter a location, and the variant of that is going to be error. Okay, so after this we can now if we have a location that is typed in, so now we just need to make a query to our database. So first of all we just need to as I told you within the demo, so over here whenever I make a search, so this should go to the route that is search results, and based on the query parameters, so we pass in the location and the property type. Okay, so let's first construct that query string, and here we can use a template string, and first put in a question mark here to start the query string and pass in the text of location, and then equals to, and then put in the dynamic string of location referring to this variable here, and then the putting an ampersand to add in another query, so that is property type, and setting that to the this value of the type itself like this. And here we can now navigate to this query. Okay, so we can bring in the router, so const router equals use router, and make sure that is coming from next/navigation, and let's do a router dot push. That is going to as I told, that is search results. Okay, so that page that we just created, and then pass in the query. Okay, so I'm just going to concatenate the query string like this. All right, so now let's test it if everything is working. So did I miss anything? So nothing. So let's get rid of these console logs, and now let's test this out. So now if I just type in a location and click on search, yeah, so now it is navigating us to the route that is /search results, and you see that this is the location that I have passed in, so that is what I have typed in, and also the property type. Okay, so that is rent, so that is by default. And also if I just select this for sale and type in another location, and you see that property type is now changed to sale, and the location text itself. Okay, so now let's construct this page where we display all the search results. So back to our search results page that we created at the beginning of this video. So we now need to grab the location and the property type from this query string. Okay, so how do we do that? So we have a custom hook that is coming from next navigation, that is use search params. Okay, so let us first create a variable called search params. Okay, and import the hook called use search params. Okay, so that is coming from next/navigation, and over here this will we just need to specify the method, like if you want to get a property, okay, based on the value that we provide. Okay, so we can get the property type by calling the search params dot get method and pass in the string of the property type. Okay, so make sure this is what you are actually passing in over here within the get. Okay, so this string should match that, and also let's do the same for the location as well. Alright, so now if I console log these two values, so that is the property type and the location. So now if I go back, so before that, every time I forget, let's mark this component as use client. Alright, and let's give it a refresh, and if I open my console now, I should be able to see the query strings. Okay, so you see we are getting the type and the location. Okay, so now let's import the server action that we just created and then pass in the two values. Okay, so let's get rid of this, and first before that let's create a state to hold all the properties for this particular component. So properties, set properties, and set this to use state, and initially this is going to be an empty array, and set this to the type property with images this time. Okay, and this is going to be an array of that. So let's create a use effect, and this is going to take in a function, and for the dependencies we are going to pass in these two values. So that is the property type and the location itself. Alright, so within this function we can now open our try catch. So before that we need to mark the function as async, right? So we cannot mark directly async to this use effect function, so we can just create a function, let's say fetch properties, and create that function called fetch properties. Okay, so let's mark this async, and inside this now let's open our try catch, and inside this let's grab the response, or we can call this properties, and set this equal to await, then import the server action, that is search results. Okay, and then we just need to pass in the two parameters. Okay, so if you also hover on this, it will also ask you for the argument, so that is the type and the location. So let's pass in that. Okay, so make sure you pass in the right order. So this is this property type. Alright, so if I go here, so first is the type and then the location. Okay, so and this is of type string, I guess. So this is a string, but it also can be null, so we need to counter for that case as well. So we have already made that check within our search properties component. So if there is a location, only then we pass in over there, otherwise we just return from that. Okay, so we can just mark this directly to be as a string, okay, instead of passing it to be null or something like that. So also the same for this as well. So now we have gotten rid of that error. So now let's check if we get a response, or if properties array exists, then we want to set the properties state to the properties, so this array. Okay, so if there is any error, we can just console log the error. Okay, so that's done. Now we can have a look at our response, whatever we get. So let's console log the properties array. Okay, so now if I type in the location void field, for example, and click on search, so it will navigate us to that page. Okay, so I just got the response a little late for some reason. So you see that we have an array of properties with just one item in it, and that contains the keyword that we have just passed in, that is white field. Okay, so we are getting all of the details of here within this array. So now we can just go ahead and pass this particular array to the property cards component that we created in one of those videos. So let us start building our JSX by giving this class name of container, and inside this div let us also pass in the heading, like saying first let's give a h1 and give it a class name of heading, and inside this let us first check the length of the properties count and then show that many properties, and also the location and also the type for that. Okay, within this one long string. Okay, so first let's start with the properties and check the length of that, dot length, and if that is a null value, then we can just put in a 0 over here, saying that there are no properties. So this many properties in the pass in the location type, sorry, just the location, and then the type for like either rent or lease, sale. Okay, so property type. Okay, so that's done. So like let's say one or two properties in the particular location that is passed in, and then the property type. Okay, so now if I save this and go back, so if I now refresh, so we see that we get one property or properties, doesn't matter, you can make the check if you want. So in the particular keyword that is passed in over here, and for rent or sale. Okay, so that is working fine. So now let's go ahead and list all of our properties here. So now we can import the property card component for the one which we already created in one of those videos. So this property cards. Okay, and there we just need to pass in a prop called properties and pass in the state that is holding the properties array. Okay, so properties like this, and let's close this up. And also we need to pass in the layout. Okay, so if you hover on this, so it says that the property layout is missing, so that is either horizontal or vertical. So layout and pass in vertical like this. So now if I go back, and by default it is horizontal, so if I pass in the prop of vertical, so you get vertically. Okay, so first is a image and then the content of that. So everything seems to work fine. And so now if we go to our header component, so we are only showing the hero section only for the home page. Okay, so we also want to include even the search results page. So let's put an or operator right after this. Okay, so let's first wrap this in parentheses, and after this we can put an or and check if the path name has the keyword. Okay, so we use that includes method for strings and pass in the string of slash search results. Make sure you spell this right. Sorry, this should be starts with and not includes. So includes is only included in array, okay, and not for strings. So I just got confused there. So starts with, and then we check if that starts with search results. So this will return a true or false value. So if any one of these values returns true, then we show the hero section. Okay, so now if I go back and refresh this, so now we get the hero section as well. Okay, so everything is working nice and good. So I guess this should conclude the video for searching the properties. Okay, so based on the keyword and the particular type of property that we pass in. Okay, so if I also try for sale and click on search, so we do not get any properties for sale in wide field. Okay, so also we can search for the street and also the city. Okay, so if I want to search for the city, let's say in just Bangalore, and click on search, so we get 6 properties. All right, and the other 2 properties that I manually created is maybe not there in the list. Okay, so now if I change this to sale and again type in Bangalore, okay, so we get 4 properties for sale in Bangalore. Okay, so this is based on the city, and also you can do the same for the street as well. Okay, so this is all about this video. So I hope you liked it. So if you have any questions, please let me know in the comments below. So thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.